getting things started in the Peach Bowl. Noon kickoff, a little bit of an early start for what's a banger of a matchup. Ole Miss and Penn State. If you were to take a team in terms of how good they were this season, and then also how much availability they have in terms of not having as many opt-outs, Ole Miss and Penn State might be the best combination, right? The teams are good. It looks like our availability reports are pretty strong. Emory, when you're looking at Ole Miss and Penn State, spread around 4.5, over under 48.5, how are you going to play this game?
Landing with Penn State. And for me, it's about O-line, D-line play, and that's where Penn State has won and will win this ball game, in my opinion. You talk about a team that's dominant on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Now, granted, you have to worry about if they're going to open up the playbook. Are they going to let Drew Allar throw the football all over the yard? But we do know about them. They can line up and run downhill against anybody they face, and that's going to be how they're going to slow this pace down, keep Ole Miss offense off the field, and force them into a one-dimensional mode. I just like the way Penn State plays team defense and an offense. They have enough, in my opinion, to play a one-dimensional game. Take your timely shots downfield. I think they could win this one and cover as well.
EC?
All right, so this one I got a couple of leans here, Chip. I'm going Penn State with the 4.5, though not all that confident, and under 48.5. So James Franklin, as we know, is an expert in covering games that don't mean a whole lot. They're 4-0-1 against the spread in their last 5 bowl games, and 16-4-1 as a favorite in the last 2 years. Listen, they were 9-1 against the spread this season against teams not named Ohio State or Michigan. They know how to beat not great teams. Now, Ole Miss is pretty good, don't get me wrong, but I expect Penn State somehow to slow this game down and avoid getting into a shootout, because if so, Lane Kiffin's getting a W. I am not confident in this pick. I'm not going to hammer it. I'm not going to throw my house on it. Penn State 23, Ole Miss 17, Chip.
Oh, I got way more confidence. The line's too little. Let's go. All right, we're going buckle up, over, 2 words, kitchen sink. That's what Lane Kiffin is throwing at this Penn State defense, which did just lose defensive coordinator Manny Diaz. How do you get on the other side of a defensive pass rush, which won't have Chop Robinson? You figure out ways to get that counter, right? You get them to send the blitz. You hit the wide open play. I trust Lane Kiffin to be able to dial up enough. And while I've been looking, Walter Nolan, yeah, he's coming to Ole Miss next year. Princely's coming next year. I mean, right now the Rebs are killing it in the transfer portal to address the defense, because the defense on the low was a little bit suspect this year. I think that the better teams, look at the LSU game. The better teams are really able to cook this Ole Miss defense. And so when I've got the combination of Lane Kiffin and what he's trying to do to scheme up those good counters against a very, very good Penn State defense that won't have its defensive coordinator or star pass rusher, and I combine it with an Ole Miss defense that I don't totally trust, plus we're indoors. Peach Bowl can be a little bit of a fast track. Doesn't matter when you kick off that game. You can get out there and score some touchdowns pretty quickly. I see this one being anything under 50. I'm going to be looking at jumping on the over. So I know you said it's just a lean. I'm not going to hit my Mortal Kombat fight button right here, but I at least I will state that I think that we're going to see a lot more in terms of offense than what this line suggests. And also Penn State offense was kind of putrid against good teams, but you make the change at offensive coordinator, you got to come into this bowl game. You had 15 practices. You got to build up confidence in Drew Allar. So this might be a good opportunity for them to do that.
Yeah, but is Drew Allar really that good? That's when I watch Drew Allar in big games against real teams, no offense to most of the Big Ten, he wasn't very good. Is Drew Allar, the next maybe Will Levis, where he takes a step forward as he gets older? Or are we talking another, bust as a quarterback? Just a thought.
Emory, what's your read on that?
I think it's tied to the offensive coordinator, because when he got into that game last year against Purdue, it took 2 throws to be like, why is he not playing over Clifford? Right?
Yeah.
So we saw that guy last year, and this guy was playing, 1997 football, right? Just they wouldn't allow him to throw the ball a lot. So I think you got to let him get in there and just air it out. He has a big arm, let him showcase it. You have receivers that can go out there and go get it. So take your chances in it. So if we hadn't seen him against Purdue last season, I'd agree with you, Eric. But man, we saw something there, and we just didn't see the offense go lean into it this season. That's why everybody was high on Penn State coming to the year, because based off what we saw glimpses of in 2022, I don't know what happened in terms of them closing the playbook up in 2023. So yeah, I think they can go out. He's pretty good. Hopefully this is a showcase, because Penn State Ole Miss, the two teams we just talked about, Missouri and Ohio State, Ohio State mostly, these are schools that still do a great job of recruiting high school talent. So this is a showcase for these top 200 guys that are going to try to get in tow at the next signing day in February.
All right, Emory, I have a question. I want to do just very quickly a Penn State recent quarterback draft just based on college. Rank them 1 to 4 as far as how you evaluate them. Hackenberg, Trace McSorley, Sean Clifford, Drew Allar in terms of college talent. How would you draft those 4?
I'd probably go Allar at 2, McSorley 1, and then Clifford and then Hackenberg.
Okay.
Moxie McSorley will have a place in my heart forever. That man could cook. Not the most physically impressive, but man, he had moxie. Shout out to Trace McSorley out there.